My daddy told me he loved me all the time. I love you. He made sure that he knew, that I knew. That's one thing that I always make sure that my kids know, that I love them. And my son, like, I love you, Daddy. You know, I love you too, buddy.
Not only the words, but you show him.
Show him.
Hello and welcome back to The Uncomfortable Truth. We are back again with Ryan Thomason and Shelby Thomas. We ended the show with them last time, kind of getting into the archery thing. And I want to know a little bit more about archery. You started it later in life, right? In your 30s?
Yeah, I used to shoot as a kid. So I started competing when I was 13, and I competed all the way through high school till I was 18.
Okay.
And my folks drove me all around the country. I got to shoot in all the Cabela's events and things like that, the IBO, International Bowhunter Organization. And we went from Clymer, New York to Pennsylvania to Minnesota to Tennessee and Texas and all over. And then I kind of, towards the later part of my high school career, I didn't really focus on it much because I was big into football and I had a college scholarship. So like I played football, you know, and then I went and did that, but I got out of archery. I quit it as a senior.
In high school?
Yeah, I got out of it after my senior year. And when I went to college to play football, so I was out of it for 14 years. Coached, I played 5 years of football. They redshirted me at Southeastern, and then I coached it at Ardmore High School. And then couldn't pay my bills as an Oklahoma educator because they just don't pay very much.
It's hard to pay your bills as a high school teacher.
I have a bachelor's and a master's in education, and I mean, I couldn't pay my bills, and it's crazy. And so I got I just got out because I was really miserable. And that was just a really hard time in my marriage. Just my attitude towards life, just because I was miserable at what I did. So I found myself very humbling. I found myself in my hometown digging ditches on the side of the highway, literally.
Yeah.
Like digging ditches for sewer lines, and with 2 degrees, and just, you know, I've always thought, you know, there was Coach Odom had this thing on the wall in the weight room. It said, I didn't come here to get second place. Or said, hold up. It said, my feet hurt, my shoulders are aching, my hands are hurting, but I didn't come here to get second place. Load the bar. And I've always kind of attacked life like that. You know what I mean? Like if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Like I'm not going to do it. I've always been on something like that. I've always been all in. So yeah, so I didn't know anything about leveling anything or running equipment or anything, but I needed a job to provide for my wife and my daughter. So I started digging ditches, and I remember that. It was humbling, man, because I was in my hometown, like to where, like at one time, you know, like I was one of the guys, you know what I mean? Like I was one of the hometown heroes, you know, and I went to college to play ball, and then, you know, I was didn't realize how prideful I was, but like, dude, I was embarrassed to be sitting there. You
had
know?
A reputation to succeed.
Yeah. And I felt like I failed. And
the master's degree.
Well, the master's degree. And I'm sitting there with a shovel in my hand. But dude, I would not trade that for the world. I met some of the most kind, worst people that I've ever met in that time in my life. And had some dudes, you know, some guys, I got to meet people that just like, some just workers, you know what I mean? And very thankful for that time in my life. Learned how to run equipment, you know, got into the oil field, learned, you know, like, you know, that's the real deal, and got to experience that. And then, so I was every journey, you know, but when I got into the oil field and I got out of coaching, I lost, you know, I didn't have an outlet now. Cause when I coached, that was my competitive outlet. But when I got out, I decided, like, you know what, I want to get back into archery, you know, so that's what I did. And
before you get into that journey with archery, so many men have these competitive outlets growing up. If you played any sport or you're involved in any kind of competitive anything, how important do you feel like it is for a man to have a competitive outlet?
If you are a competitor, if you are a competitor in anything and you love to compete, that is part of you. And like, I think it's very important that they have that you got to have, like, some guys do it in video games. Like these guys, you know, their husbands in their pro game with their friends. Probably what that wife doesn't understand is like that person is a competitor, and that is their only outlet they have now that all their chances are gone to compete. And like, is it make an excuse? I mean, it is what, I mean, I'm not going to get into that, but they are competing.
And I'll, from my personal experience, it was, video games have been a part of my life and since I remember. And I had a very unhealthy relationship with him for the longest time. But now, as my wife and I relationship, like I would stay up till 3:00 in the morning playing video games and then not get up the next day and go mow the yards for my own business because I was tired.
Yeah.
So it was very unhealthy.
Right.
And my wife would get super upset with me, justifiably so.
Sure.
Now that's transpired into a competitive outlet, but also me and my two boys play.
Yeah.
And that is it's very sacred to me I've got my TV that I play on, and both my boys have their little screens. They're all three in the living room. So my wife probably doesn't enjoy having that stuff in the living room, but
it's bonding time, man.
But she's totally okay with accepting that bonding time.
Yeah.
And that's a moment. And also my brother-in-law plays in Dallas. So it's like the four of us going at it on Fortnite, man. It's special to me.
It is special. That's the only thing good that I think came out of 2020 is everybody's stuck in their houses. And that's like, everybody's stuck in their houses, and like, especially like Call of Duty Warzone blew up. And I know that's, you know, I reconnected with the friends I hadn't talked to in over a decade, you know, and we still play, you know what I mean? Like every couple of days we'll jump on, we'll play a game or two, you know.
I have to get your gamer tag so that I can actually play with somebody that's decent.
That's funny. I'm terrible considered to some of these kids, but I also think cheating is rampant.
Bro, yes. What's it called? What's the cheating called where it's like
aimbot?
Oh, man. How many kids have aimbot right now?
Well, all I know is that I'm going in there to, like, because I'm a casual player. I go in there just to relax or whatever, and I'm just getting just destroyed by some
relaxation turns into frustration.
Oh, it does. I walk away, you know, and I finally got to where I walk away, like to the point where I'm just like, man, if I could figure out how to buy these cheats, I just gonna rage cheat on everybody, get banned, and just be done.
Bro, I feel like these kids are like going to school to learn how to play Call of Duty and also how to trash talk, because they're the most creative and ugly trash talkers
it's
I've
terrible.
ever met in my life.
It's awful. I actually, you know, I commend the guys that actually have turned it into a ministry. You know, there's guys who do that they go in and they talk about Jesus. You know what I mean? They talk about Jesus, and while they're playing, I think that's kind of cool.
I do too.
There's some streamers that do that.
I feel like we talk about video games for a while. So your archery journey started back up at 32?
Let's see. It would have been 2014 is when it started back up. So 11 years is what I've been back at it. So started it back up 2014, and then that's, you know, I realized that, hey, this is something I want to do. This is like, I always deep down wanted to, like, I don't know, man. Deep down, you have goals of wanting to, you know, be somebody, whatever that means. You know what I mean? But like, I wanted to be a professional at something. Like, like that meant something to me, you know. And I wasn't going to be a professional football player or anything else that I did. You know what I mean? I dabbled in music a little bit and just that kind of stuff, and not a very good singer. So I only know this. The chords I learned in the first 6 months playing guitar, it's all I know today, you know, type stuff. So that wasn't going to work. And so, but when I was like, man, this is something I could do, you know, and like, I already know how to do it. And I had success as a kid. So I was like, I'm doing it, you know, I told my wife about it. And so anyways, when I realized, you know, like, hey, this is something I could do. I can also be a professional in it. I can get paid. I can have sponsors. I can do all this, you know. It's just like the door was just like, you know, this is what I can do. And so I set a goal, man. I set a goal to be a pro in 5 years. It took me 7, but I made it, and I've been here ever since. And that journey is, once I became a professional, that really opened the door to a lot of stuff. It opened the door to sponsors, opened the door to my academy, teaching people, mentoring other archers.
You have a way people can contact you or watch you online, or
my Instagram is @toe42.
TOE42.
Yep.
Okay.
TOE either underscore 42 or TOE 42, one of the two. And then our academy page is G2 underscore OSA for Outdoor Shooting Academy.
And that's in Ardmore?
In Ardmore, yes. Okay. Yeah. So I offer classes. If somebody's interested, they can reach out to me and I offer classes and they can sign up and we go through a 3-week course of I have different levels of master's class and just stuff like that, teaching people to shoot. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been interesting, I've leaned on a lot of other pros for information and just kind of developing and making it my own and stuff. But the Lord's blessed it. It's not crazy big or anything, but
how's the professional bow shooting community? Is it super helpful or is it competitive? I'm not.
No, it's there's in the pro ranks, there's not a lot of drama, and those guys they'll help you if you need help 100%. There is not. I can't think of one person that's just a cancer, in the community. They all are striving to help people, in those aspects of things. So, yeah, and some of them, you don't see like faith talked about a lot, really. I mean, you do in some instances, but there are some guys that I know that are, believers, mm-hmm. And I've got to be a part of some really cool stuff.
So how's your, in the last episode that we did, you talked a lot about like you heard Jesus speaking to you and sometimes you have dreams, sometimes you just get maybe a vision, sometimes you hear like go do this or go say this to this person. How's your faith and your interaction with Jesus impacted your archery journey?
A couple of different instances that it has at all times. I don't always have my, I would say that I need to have my ear open to the Lord at all times. And sometimes I'm so busy with my own things that, he's probably speaking to me, but I'm not even focusing on it. But sometimes it's so audibly loud that like, it's like it's him. I know it's him. One instance, there's a professional archery shoots for Matthews. His name's Brad Martin. Super good dude. Brad and I shot semi-pro together coming up through the ranks. And he's older than me, so he shoots what's called senior pro. So you have these different classes. You have your open pro, you have women's open pro, and you have like known pro, and you have senior pro. So anybody who's over 50 is in the senior class. And he's always been a buddy of mine. We see each other, 6 times a year because there's 6 national tournaments throughout the country that we always go to and stuff. And we were in Minden, Louisiana, and I'm sitting there. I mean, everybody's gearing up. You go to these courses are in the woods, and you don't know how far things are. These courses, there's 20 targets per course, and there's like 14 courses, and like there's thousands of people there. So like you're assigned this course, like the A range, the B range, the C range. And like, so the pros always shoot on Friday morning and then they shoot on Saturday morning. They shoot 2. And then they take the top 5 people at the 2 days combined score. They take the top 5 shooters and they shoot them down.
Out of how many?
It just depends on how many's in the class. So like open pro, the class I compete in, there's roughly 60 plus.
Wow.
Yeah, 60. So
you make that top 5.
Yes.
It is shooting lights out.
It's very hard to do. It is so hard to do. And there's guys that do it all the time.
Consistently.
Levi Morgan, Dan McCarthy, these dudes, like they do it all the time, and it's just like, guys are just incredible, they're so good. And so to compete against these guys it's hard. And so to make that shoot down, I've made it once. Last year, I took 3rd at London, Kentucky, and I made a shoot down, got to be on TV and stuff. And that was like one of the goals, it really kind of breaks the ice in your professional career if you can make that shoot down and get in there and compete against those guys. And I got to stand on the podium with those guys, and so it was cool. But so we're sitting there gearing up to shoot, and Brad is one of those guys that he's been so close.
Making the shoot down?
Yeah, in his senior class. Like he's been so close, and he's just, as a competitor, like you go through a lot of emotions, man, because you spend a lot of money time doing this thing, and you get one chance a month to go out there and prove yourself. And the game we play, if you make one mistake, especially in the unknown game, like it's pretty unrecoverable.
Okay, so let's break this down for the viewer, listener out there. The unknown game is you go out to your targets, your shooting area, and there's different targets, and you don't know how far your target is. Now, everything in archery is designed for your shot, for you to know. If you're hunting with a bow, you have a rangefinder, and you know, okay, to this feeder is 32 yards.
Yeah,
exactly. 32 is important, not 33. 100%. 32.
Yeah.
And when that deer walks out and you're going to take your shot, everything is progressive and methodical. And if you have time, you range. Well, he's behind the feeder, so he's going to be 37.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to shoot this pin, or I'm going to move.
Right.
I'm going to shoot between these two pins. You guys don't know how far it is.
We don't know how far it is. And so there's 20 targets on that particular range. There will be anywhere from 3 to 5 people per stake. So so like everyone's on their stake at shoot 'em up time, and then the range officials say everybody get in their group. You say shoot 'em up, and you have 1 arrow per target. So you stand there, you judge it, and then you're going to shoot. And what you're trying to hit is what's called a 12. In this, you can look it up, a McKenzie ASA target. So you have an uppers and lower 12s. You got to call your shot.
The 12 is the circle that you're trying to hit. How big is this circle?
About 1.5 inches. And then you have a 10 ring, which is those 12 sit within, and then you have an 8 ring and then a 5 ring. You can't see those rings really. Like it just looks like an animal down in the woods. So you've got to know where they are.
No binoculars?
Yeah, you can use binoculars, but you can identify stuff. And actually the scopes, like we have scopes on our bows that have lenses in them. So like sometimes you can see them, depends on if the sun hits them right. But it's more about just knowing where the 12 is. And so but you don't know how far it is. So like there's a lot of strategy that comes into the game. You know what I mean? Because it literally comes down to like, all right, I think it's 43 yards. Well, if you shoot it for 42 and you're aiming at the lower at the bottom of the 10, like a 1 yard miss at 43 yards is roughly about 1.5 inches to 2 inches. Depending if you make a strong shot. If you
a 12 is 1.5 inches.
Yeah, and it's at the bottom of the 10. So like you can be a 16th underneath that 12 and it'd be an 8.
So are you always is the 12 always at the bottom of the 10 circle?
So there's 2 of them. So you have what's called a lower and an upper.
Which one do you normally shoot at?
Just depends on how I'm feeling. It might be because there's 2 arrows in the lower and you got to shoot at the upper.
You ever wake up one morning and your kids are like, hey, Dad, you're going to the tournament. You got to shoot the upper today.
You know what's funny? Yeah, actually my son,
Really?
My son does the winner's dance or whatever, the old man dance, and it's for good luck or whatever. So he always does that for me. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, so you shoot at those 12s, and like the level of talent that is in these classes is just crazy. I mean, these guys are incredible. Like you literally can walk up to something and go, it's 43.3 yards, and it'd be 43.2, literally without a rangefinder. Like that, there's so much experience that they literally can do that. And that's been one of my talents ever since I was little, is being able to judge distance. So, and I've actually incorporated that into my academy, is teaching people how to judge distance, because it is a skill set, And if you make one mistake, can cost you the entire tournament. You can miss a 12 by a 16th and shoot an 8 low, and those 2 points cost you getting in that shoot down.
And you're also not speaking to anything with wind as well. I'm sure that comes into play.
Yeah, wind comes into play, but we don't shoot out in the open a lot. We shoot a lot in the woods. So the wind get cut. It's cut a lot by the woods. So
last night, Towhead shows up at the house and he's like, man, I want to go outside and see your outdoor kitchen. So we're back there and I take him around. I'm showing him and stuff. And he's like, man, this is really cool back here. And he walks over here and he's, oh, there's your fence down there. That's about 30 yards. You can shoot your bow back here. And it's like, 9:30
it's probably 30 yards.
How do you know it's 30 yards? It's 30 yards, Shelby.
Okay.
It's dark, Towhead.
I've done it. I've done it.
Man, it's just something you do. You repetitively, you see it. And there's a lot of guys that can do it. But yes.
Okay, so I'm trying to really dial down the details of how hard this is.
Yeah.
You have 20 targets.
Per day, 2 days.
Per day. Let's talk about the shoot down.
Okay.
You have 20 targets?
No, the shoot down is 5 targets.
Do you have 5 arrows?
Yes. So so how that works is you're going to shoot 1 target at a time, because everyone's rotating, so there'll be 4 in your group, all 4 shoot. And then you have a shooting order in which you go in. So if I shot first, you shot second, Shelby shot third, then I would go to the end of the line on the next target. Then you'd be up first, Shelby, then me. So you rotate like that. So there's because it all comes into play as far as arrows being in the target and, hitting off arrows and having to look at a clean target and all those kind of things. So you shoot 20 targets day one. And then the next morning they peer group you on how you scored. So like if you were leading day one, then you're going to be on target one in peer group one. And then they have what's called the leaderboard. And so folks can look up CAM Archery Media, competition archery media. It's called CAM. And they have a YouTube and all that kind of stuff, but they have this leaderboard up there in all the pro classes. So you looking at that leaderboard, you know where everyone is. So like, how many up they are. So how that works. So that 10 is worth 10 points, right? And then the others are called bonus rings. So if you shoot 20 targets and you shot 20 10s, you would score 200.
Correct.
Right? So if you shot 20 10s, or if you shot 19 10s and 112, it would be a 202. That's considered shooting 2 up. Okay.
So it's like a par in golf.
Yeah, yes. So
they're expecting you to shoot par.
Yes, exactly. So shooting even 200 is considered par. So if I shot 19 10s and an 8, that'd be 2 down. So like when people say their scores, they're like, I shot 2 down, 8 down.
Okay.
I shot 2 up, 4 up, 20 up, 14 up. So like a really, really high score is, in the teens. So if you shoot 12 plus on a pro range, like that's really good, especially when they do it 2 days in a row. And that's the hardest thing to do, is to put 2 solid days together. And that's why you shoot 2 days. So they're going to shoot, say, you shoot 12 up day one and then you shoot 10 up day two, then you're going to shoot 22 up for the weekend. Okay. And that's going to probably put you.
The highest is 40 up?
The highest would be 80 up for the weekend.
Like, does anybody ever get close to that?
No,
okay.
No. There's been I saw one guy almost shoot a clean score on one day on a known round. But like some of these guys, dude, like they are so good. They're like, to make a pro shoot down, depending on, so if it's early in the year, like because we kick off in February and no one's really been practicing, like the cut to get in, the top 5 is
easier if you've been practicing.
Well, it's like 16 or so, 16 up to get in. But like right now we're fixing to have our classic, which is the national championship. It's held in Coleman, Alabama. Like it's going to take at least 24 up to make that final 5.
Man.
So that's just solid, no mistakes. You're hitting a lot of rings, and it's very difficult to do. So, but yeah, so they take your 2 scores and then you make that shoot down. And when you make that shoot down, it's called the Pro Pressure Point Shoot Down. And it's televised on the Pursuit channel, and it's all on national television and stuff like that. So like it's really cool. Like you make one of those things and it's just really cool. And it's the most fun I've ever experienced in archery. But bounce back to my guy Brad.
Right. We know how hard it is now.
This is hard.
It's super hard.
It's not easy.
And Brad has been on the cusp.
In his senior
pro career.
In his senior pro, he's been on the cusp. And so we're in Minden, day one. Was it day 2? No, it was day 1. Yeah, it was. It was day 1 because it was the start of the tournament.
I'm not going to argue with you.
I was sitting there thinking because I was on A range. Yeah, I was on day 1. And I'm sitting there at my stake, and because everyone, like when you go in, you go to your assigned stake because you get an assigned stake. You go there, and then you figure out who's on your stake and who you're shooting with and stuff like that. And everyone's just fellowshipping right there. You're just kind of walking around. You're looking at the range, what you're fixing to shoot. You can walk up and down the range and see all the targets in the woods and like what you're expecting.
Can you walk out to the targets?
No, you can only, you cannot go past your stake. Okay. So because that people, could like step
it off. Yeah.
So, but you can go down there and look, and management of this game is really big. And so like you're looking at those, you're looking at the targets, you're trying to formulate a game plan, like I like to, I always call it the beast. So I go find the longest target on the range, and then I know that that's 50 yards because that's my max. So I'll go find the longest and I acclimate off that target. So I'm like, okay, that's the beast. So that's 50. So now everything that I'm seeing, that I know, like I'm getting my depth perception, you know what I mean? And that's, so I was just fixing to do that. So I was standing on the stake. I'd looked at my target or whatever, and it was a wolf. It was a wolf. It's about 51 yards because they can go a little bit over 50, but I was going to shoot 51 at it. And I was looking at it or whatever, and I turned and I was by myself, I was kind of jittery, nervous, about to get it on, and here comes Brad. And he's walking down the deal, and I remember he just kind of had his head down, and he's just kind of walking. And dude, I heard the Holy Spirit tell me. He said, "You go tell him that it's time and that this is his weekend. You go tell him that it's fixing to happen for him." And like, so I'm just like, what? I'm like fixing to shoot, and I hear this, but I know what he sounds like.
You quit thinking about shooting.
Yeah. I know what he sounds like. And, was like, okay. So I walk up to this guy.
Before you talk to him, what thoughts are going through your head?
Man, it's just like, you got to, just be bold, because like I'm about to have to go tell this dude what I just heard. And I know Brad pretty well, but I don't know him that well. You know, I know that he's a believer, but like I'm fixing to just walk up and say, hey man, God just told me to tell you that you're about to have success. So enjoy the ride.
You're going to win.
This ain't no, hey bud, I think you're going to do great today. It ain't that.
No, it's like, no, he told me to tell you it's time. That's what he said. And I've had stuff similar like that happen to me before, but like I'm, you know, this is more than just encouragement. This is what he told me to tell you. So I walk up to him, I looked him right in the face. I said, hey, you ready? And then he's like, yeah, man, I think I'm ready. I said, dude, it's your weekend. I said, you're fixing to kill it. That's exactly what I told him. He goes, man, I hope so. I said, no, you don't understand. I said, dude, I'm just standing there, and God wanted me to tell you that you're fixing to kill it. He just looked at me. In the back of my mind, I'm like, man, please kill it.
Yeah, the Lord, please.
Yeah, please kill it.
Fly the arrow straight, man.
Yeah, I was like, please kill it. But that's what I told him. I was like,
I'm telling him he's fixing to win.
And you're like, hey, by the way, the beast is 51.
Yeah. No, you don't want to say that. But yeah, because it's funny you say that, because everyone out there does have integrity, you know, and they don't. There's not cheaters and stuff like that talk about that stuff. But I told him, I said, hey man, I said, you're fixing to kill it. You want me to tell you that this is it? Like, enjoy the ride. I turned around and walked off. And honestly, I didn't really think about it. I saw him on the leaderboard that day. And then the next day, I didn't talk to him. And then I was walking off at the B range, our range. And it was actually, I was very frustrated because I was making a move. I was 2 points off the cut with 8 to go. Just everything was jamming. You know, I'm right there. And everything was working perfectly. And my arrow got hit, and it cracked it dislodged my bushing in the back of my arrow, and it made me shoot high. And I shot a 5 high with the right number, and it was just deflating. So I was wallowing in my pity.
You mess that up, you're done, right?
Yeah, that mistake, it's over. I mean, you would have to have an insane amount of 12s, and like I didn't have the 12 count to be there, but I was only 2 points off the cut with 8 to go. Like, I mean, and I had hit like 3 in a row, and I was 10 up at the time. I was doing really well. But anyways, yeah, that all went down the drain. But I was very frustrated. And when I was walking out, I saw that Brad made the shoot down. And I was like, wow, dude, let's go. He didn't win, but he did get second. And I mean, when you make one of those shoot downs or in a podium, like just making the shoot down is a win, dude. I mean, like making a shoot down can make your year, especially as a sponsored. I mean, like if you can say you're a professional and you're making pro shoot downs, like that goes a long ways, you know, for the shooter, you know what I mean? And
so he didn't win.
He got
but
second.
He made shoot down, got second.
He got second.
How often did he make shoot down prior to that?
He never had made a shoot down. He had never made a shoot down. He had never had any success. He'd been super close.
So that was his win.
Yeah, I mean, like 100%. And like that's, you know, and then afterwards, like I didn't get to talk to him at the shoot down, but I talked to him before. And dude, he was crying. It was so awesome, you know, because he was telling everybody. He was like, man, he's like, Ryan, come up to me. He told me. He said, God told him to tell me. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, dude, that's awesome. You know what I mean? But like, what if I hadn't have said something? You know what I mean? Like what?
Yeah.
What if I hadn't have said something? You know, I mean, obviously, I don't know. But like God told me to go tell that man that word. And as we've talked, you know, I know I'm about to say it, there's that it takes courage to go up to somebody and tell them that. But there's been times that I did not.
So what you hear these things, and sometimes you obey and sometimes you don't. Is there another time specifically you're thinking of that?
Yeah, it's I'm gonna get emotional on this one because it man, like, I don't know his name. I don't know the kid's name, but there is a kid that was in a sporting accident in a town, Sulphur, Oklahoma, north of us, and he's paralyzed. He was a baseball player, and he was trying to, I don't really know the whole story. I think he was trying to catch a ball or something, and he ran into somebody, I think, and it paralyzed him from the neck down. And you hear those kind of things. You see that kind of stuff all the time, and you're just like, God, man, that sucks. That's terrible, And you have compassion for those people. You know what I mean? But it's not real. It's not in your life. You're not affected by it. It's just a story, And I had been really, at this time, I'd been really not so much studying on faith, but just like literally I was thinking about, I looked up, it's Matthew 17, just having the faith, like literally working miracles through Jesus with just the faith, like there has been a time.
Faith of a mustard seed.
Yeah, there's been times in our life, in Jesus' time and after Jesus' time, that like through the power of Christ, literally people have been healed. People that were blind can see. And like I was thinking about that. I mean, like, can you imagine the blind man? He's been blind his whole life. And then Jesus walks up there and rubs some mud on his eyes and he can see. Or the crippled man that couldn't walk. And Jesus looks at him and goes, hey,
stand up.
Get up. And he gets up. That, like, dude, if you just truly think about what that would look like today, it is so powerful. And you hear of his disciples and, healing people and things like that. But like, I was eating dinner with my family after my daughter, I forget where, I think it was her promenade or something, but we were eating dinner and we were in Sulphur eating dinner. And I'm sitting there eating and this kid comes rolling in on his wheelchair with a straw. I think that's how that works. I don't know, or something. It's just, he can't move. He had his family, and dude, this kid's just smiling. And I'm sitting there eating my food. And I hear God say, I'm not denying it. I heard him tell me. He said, get up. Go put your hand on his neck and tell him to walk. That's what he told me. I just froze. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, who am I? Like, I'm this dude. I'm sorry. Like, I'm nobody, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely not a disciple. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what he told me. It was him. He said, get up and go put your hand on his neck and you tell him to walk. And bro, I just froze.
God, yeah.
I mean, I just literally just froze. I'm like, I didn't acknowledge him. I didn't tell him no.
Were you able to finish eating? I mean, it obviously has affected you.
I totally just ignored it. I just looked down at my food and went back to what I was thinking, and I just was over there watching him sit there.
Were you feeling convicted?
Oh, I feel convicted all the time. You know what I mean? Because I'm worried about what they're going to think. I mean, because that's immediately the devil went to my mind. It's just like, you really going to go over there and put your hand on his neck and tell him to walk? Mm-hmm. You don't know this guy? What's his family going to think of you? What is he going to think of you? He didn't say go lay your hands on and pray for him. He didn't say that. He said, you go over and put your hand on his neck and tell him to walk. And dude, that's just, I just did not have the courage to do it.
I can't imagine. I put myself in your shoes and I cannot imagine the pressure that you could feel in that moment. And how many thoughts and what all those thoughts were that are running through your head. And I think as Christians, we can get to a point where, we're not worried about what they think. But when you tell that story to me, I worry about what people think.
Yeah. No, it's real.
Yeah.
I think that keeps a lot of people at bay. I think that's Satan's lies, and he keeps a lot of people at bay. And I don't know who that kid is. I don't know who that kid is, but I know that guy, I feel like God wants him to, I feel like he's either going to be healed or I feel like I missed my opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know.
How often do you think about that? And how long ago was that?
Man, it wasn't too long ago. I've told God, Lord, if I ever get that opportunity again, I hope I have the courage to do it. But I'm like, man, that's just like, I know what's secret in my life. You know what I mean? Like, I struggle with things. Like I said, I'm wretched. I struggle with things as a man. And like, what I know is just like, I mean, I know God used a lot of wretched people for his glory. You know what I mean? And I'm not perfect. But like, I constantly, when I feel like I come to the court and I just ask God to forgive me and cleanse me. Like, I feel like that I'm not living the life that I should live. I don't know. I just know what I heard.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe that if I would have had the courage to do that, that he would have worked that miracle. And like, I feel like I've let that kid down. I feel like I let myself down because I'm just being disobedient. That's just how I feel. You know what I mean? And I don't really care what anybody would say as far as, well, blah, 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 make excuses. But I mean, like, dude, like, I know what I heard. I'm not running from it. Like, I failed. And yeah, it'd be hard for anybody to do that. But like, dude, like, there are people that have walked this earth that have heard that call and they rose to the occasion and they have performed miracles. You know what I mean? They have performed miracles, and that's happened. That's real.
I think about Jesus and when he walked this earth, right? And the disciples saw him performing miracles, and they knew him. They knew Jesus. I mean, if anybody knew Jesus, they knew Jesus, right? Because they got to walk with him. They knew the power that he wielded, and because of their relationship with him, and he told them that they could, he gave them the power too to heal in his name. They believed it.
Yeah.
And they did it. And that can go for us today. Like, how close are we with Jesus, and do we actually believe what he tells us?
I think there is a time coming very soon. Like, if you not to be political, but look around the world. I think there is a time coming very soon that God will work miracles like that. And there will be people that will do that. But like, man, and this actually touches back to, like, there's a fear there because it goes hand in hand when I was being demonically attacked and what I heard about the dude up there that didn't want to praise because he didn't want to be in the spotlight. Like, I know, like, my tendencies, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know that, like, I very quickly, my flesh, like, people, I don't want to say people, I mean, there are people that want to be praised or they want to be recognized or they want to feel, whether it's justified or they want to feel whatever the word I'm looking for there. They want to feel those things and feel like they've done something or whatever. But like, I want nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like if you could do that with a mask on, do it real quick and then get out of there like that.
Oh, 100%, dude. Yeah. 100%. Like that. Yeah. Want nothing, just, and what's crazy is that's exactly what happened in the Bible. Was the guard? He was just like, hey man, he was just like, my servants, dying or dead, you don't need to be there.
That's right. Jesus said, because of your faith, he's healed.
Yeah, he said, just say it. You know what I mean? And like, so it's not a matter of me touching him or, or
right.
Whatever. I mean, literally, if a person has that faith, that 100% can do it. And that's, I don't know that family and I don't know that family, and I can't imagine what that dude's going through. But I just know that literally in a breath, there is power there that could, and it's just, it stinks, man. It's the ruler, 2 Corinthians 4:4, says that the little g God of this world, who is Satan, some say God, some say ruler, he has this authority on earth, and I firmly believe that's why bad things happen to good people, is because, he's in everything. And
we live in a sinful, fallen society,
yeah,
world.
Right.
It's, I don't know. That one, I got to experience the joys. That's only the one that's really, and there's been other things that God spoke to me that it didn't go well. Like he intervened. I feel like he used me to intervene on behalf of marriages and things like that, and that are friends of mine. And, like dudes had the choice to make the right choice, to fight, and they chose to walk away, and the marriage was dissolved, and it's just been, that person's been in turmoil ever since, and then I've seen people who've stepped up to the call and be a man, like Shelby's story, and he transformed his life, have him say things to me, and I just pass on a word of encouragement to him. And then I've had him tell me to do things, and I was just too scared to do it. And,
It's tough to admit as a man that we're scared to do something.
I think about, I know that power is real. It is real.
Yeah.
It's real.
Shelby, you've been kind of quiet. How do you feel about his story? Or do you have any questions?
Well, I remember when it happened because he called me to tell me about it, and which I broke down in tears when he was explaining to me what happened, because I just had to put myself in his shoes for a moment and be like, man, I'm not so sure I would have done that either. I do believe that God is working miracles still today, and he's using people to do it, and it's happening. It's probably happening at this moment somewhere. And I think, like you said, Towhead, that even more so in the upcoming days, we will see more miracles. And I've had people tell me before, that God doesn't have to use us, but he chooses to use us. And the question is, will we be obedient even in moments like that? Man, I don't know.
I was asking my buddy who's a cardiac nurse, or I don't know, deals with heart disease, whether he's a nurse or a PA or doctor, I can't remember. But I asked him about miracles, and he's like, bro, I mean, it's real. I've seen them. Recently, there was a patient that died coded on the table for, I don't know, 30 minutes or so, longer than any person should have any kind of brain activity after that amount of time, essentially dead. One of the doctors prayed over him. He was like, there's nothing we can do. Dude's dead. Prayed over him, just give him CPR one more time, whatever. Back to life. And no side effects. And he says, I see those things. They don't happen all the time, but I see those things, and I know that God is real, and because I was there.
Yeah.
And I think as Christians, man, it's like, I think about a story like yours, and if that would have happened and I didn't know you, the skepticism creeps in. How do we know that was even real?
Yeah. I think that's just the fear of being like labeled a fraud, or, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I don't want anyone to be looked at. Like, if I could hide, I could do it. You know what I'm saying? Just because I don't want any part of that, but at the same time.
You don't want any part of the attention.
The attention. Yeah.
Yeah, because it definitely would bring attention.
Yeah. Bring a lot of attention. You know what I mean?
You do want to be part of God's plan.
Yes. 100%.
Of whatever he calls you to do.
100%. And I find it, Man, we are just a faithless generation. And I'm first person to point at myself.
Yeah, me too.
But we're a faithless generation. I mean, like, you're literally talking about the creator that spoke everything into existence, literally. He literally raised his son from the dead. Like, do we not think that he can't perform this miracle? You know what I mean? Like, that's not real.
And his son specifically said in his earthly ministry, Jesus said that you will be able to do farther and greater things than I did.
Yeah, 100%. Like, that's all real, but
That's
like,
word.
but that's not real to the present day. Yeah, I'm sure it is to some people. I don't want to make that sound like I'm speaking for everybody. Obviously, I don't know. But like
General public.
you know, that like most people don't even, man, most people, they're so just consumed with, they're just consumed with themselves and their flesh that they don't,
I think everybody's distracted.
yeah.
We're all a product of all the distractions around us, and we see what's right in front of us barely. And if that's right in front of us, and it's what we want to see, it's what we see.
I'll say this. So I had this thought a while ago. So like on that last episode, I went into detail about my demonic. I got demonically attacked and just what that's done to me. But like, you're left with those memories and things like that. But like, there's been times to where, you know, I'm struggling with a sin or something, you know, and it's just never ending. You know, it's just like, my goodness, you know, and like I want to be pure of mind and things like that, you know, and just, you know, you see a good looking woman walking down the road and you physically have to like turn away. I mean, because you're just drawn to it. And like for here recently, like I'm just like, man, like, have I allowed, you know, this back in my life, this demonic presence back in my life? Because it's just never ending. And God showed me something. I'm relieved, but at the same time, I have such more clarity is that I'm sure in some instances people wrestle with demonic, but I'm wrestling with my flesh.
Yeah.
We're giving Satan so much credit.
Yeah. Right? I'm literally like, I have an understanding of what my flesh is, and my spirit is apart from my flesh. Mm-hmm. My flesh is of this world, and my flesh desires the things of this world. And that's not me. I've been born again in Christ. So like when I'm having these thoughts and those things, like it's real. When Paul talks about, you know,
have that thorn in his side. Is that what you're going with that?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I don't know the scripture off the bat, but you're battling with your flesh. So like when as a believer, if you're struggling with something, like you are born a sinner. Like you naturally are going to sin. You are naturally going to want to do those things because your flesh wants to do those things.
Yeah.
But once you know Christ, like your spirit and your conviction is telling you don't to do those things, you know, and you know, to do what's right. And that man, when I realized, I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy. I don't have this, you know, getting attacked here, but what I am battling is me. I'm battling my flesh, and my flesh hates everything that is good. Mm-hmm. It hates everything that is pure and holy. It wants no part of it. It wants to do what it wants to do. And I have to literally, like, through the power, and know that I have the power to say no to those things. And my spirit has to be in control. And if I feed my flesh, he grows stronger.
Yeah.
If I feed my flesh with those things, like, it can overtake. But if I deny my flesh those things, then it puts God back in control. You know, you had mentioned fasting, you know, in our last conversation. It's, you know, I think that I don't fast nearly as much as I should, and I don't pray as nearly as much as I should. I do pray, but I think one thing I'm actively, I listened to one of y'all's episodes. It might have been the last one, but they're talking about praying with your wife. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I do not pray with my wife. Not, you know, I've prayed with my wife, but not the kind of praying that I need to protect my family.
Man, I think same here. If we want true transformation, we got to start doing stuff. And being a believer of Jesus isn't about doing stuff. It's about where our heart is. But if our heart's not there, you have to just try.
Yeah.
Because I believe that the Lord will fill you with his spirit when
Mhm.
he recognizes your effort.
Yeah.
And if we pray for, God, I want to follow you. I want to find all these things. I want you to search my heart and find where it's not honoring to you.
Yeah.
He'll start to point those things out when we can handle them and start to work on
I
it.
think a great place to start, like if a person doesn't know what that actually looks like. So for me and my convictions, I try to follow, I start with the commandments of God. I mean, just take the first 10 commandments of what he tells you to do. And like, I'm not going to go down the slope, but you follow the commandments of God because that's his love language. When you're being obedient to what he tells you to do, you are showing him that you love him.
That's right.
Right? You doing those things is not going to get you into heaven. Right? That only comes by faith through Christ alone.
Good point.
But doing those things says he literally, you're showing him, Lord, I love you. I'm not just going to tell you that I love you.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you I love you by doing exactly what you've told me to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm willing to put the effort in.
Yeah, I'm willing to put the effort in.
Yeah.
And some people, and then you got Satan who's interfered and says, whoa, you don't got to do all this kind of stuff over here, this kind of stuff right here. You know what I mean? But that literally, his commandments literally define what is sin. If you break a commandment, you sin, 1 John 3:4. You know what I'm saying? And like people say to repent, well, if you're turning away from that sin and you're not doing the breaking anymore, the opposite of that is doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just as simple as being, don't lie.
Yeah.
So don't lie. You're following the commandment when you don't lie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're actively turning away from that. And there is tons of commandments that are within Scripture that I think that Christians today just don't think. Well, honestly, they're not taught to follow those things. And like in today's culture, man, you could really go off into a rabbit hole. But it's just be obedient to God on what he tells you to do. Read the book from the front to the back. And if it applies to you, then I feel like that we should do it. And we're not doing it to be saved. We're doing it to show him, Lord, I love you. I'm not going to just tell you I love you. I'm going to show you I love you by the way I live. I'm going to be right.
Yeah. How well would it work if we just told our wives that we love them and never sacrificially do anything for
100%.
them?
Yeah.
I can wake up every morning and tell my wife, hey, I love you.
Love is action, man.
Yeah. And then like when she calls and says, hey, I'm tied up. Can you go pick the kids up? Nope, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Or like, hey, I'm not feeling good. Would you mind cooking dinner for the kids tonight? I'm just going to rest. Nope, not doing that.
Well, Jesus,
how would that work?
Jesus is, when Jesus, they ask him, about the commandments and, what's the greatest commandment?
Love God.
Yeah. It's to love the Lord your God with all your heart. And the greatest is to love one another, and that's like just loving a person. Like that's commanded love. What does that look like? Truly, what does that look like? You can't just tell a person that you love them.
Yeah.
You can.
Amen.
But if your actions don't back up what you're saying,
it means nothing.
it means absolutely nothing. Like you got to, like love, I believe love is action. It literally is it's the biblical definition of love. I think it's in 1 John or 2 John, and this is love, that you follow the Father's commandment. You follow God's commandments. That this is love, literally.
That's exactly what it says.
Yeah, that you follow his commandments. It's action. You know what I mean?
And it's like faith without works is dead. Okay, so your works doesn't save you, your faith saves you. And you can also take that into your marriage, right? You can't say you love somebody if they can't see that you love them. But then also, how can you say you love God if you're not willing to obey God?
Yeah, those two commandments are don't say anything about loving yourself. And obviously that's implied, right? But that puts the focus on something other than me.
Yeah.
And in our generation, in our world today, we're so focused on ourselves that it's hard to see God and other people.
That's Paul really talks about when it comes to the commandments of God. I mean, they define an outline. I mean, that's what I feel like the commandments are there for. It's literally the instructions for living. It's what is right. It's define what's like. You can literally think of something good in the world, and you can trace one of God's commandments back to what is good, what is right. It defines what is right in the world. Anything that is good comes from God. You know what I mean? And so if you strive to do what is right, and live that way and try to, because that's what his behavior is. Like God's behavior is right. So we try to imitate his behavior, you know what I mean? And try to imitate what he does. And
Jesus, right?
100%.
Look at Jesus' ministry. Like, he said, I came to do my Father's will.
Yeah. He came to do my Father's will and to follow me. And that's what he says. What does that look like? You know, what does it truly look like to follow me? Well, it means you do exactly what he did. You live exactly how he lived. You show grace. You show love. You forgive. You know, you give. You do those kind of things, and you be obedient to what his Father says to do. There's a lot that his Father says to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's a lot. So I tell you, it's so. In today's, there's just, I heard this, and I feel like God wants me to say this. I feel like, you could totally go off on this, and I don't want to, but I think one of Satan's greatest victories, I heard this, my father-in-law told me this, is that one of Satan's greatest victories is denominations. One of Satan's greatest victories. And what better way to divide God's people and have them quarrel and fight and fuss over understandings and things like that, to where, like, I mean, it's just chaos. And it's not supposed to be that way. And you got this group saying this group's wrong, and this group saying this group's wrong. And then you have someone like me that's over here looking at that. I'm like, okay, there's a lot of distractions here. Like, one thing I believe is I know who the way, the truth, and the life is. And I'm going to follow him. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm going to focus on, and I'm not going to focus on nothing else.
It's the majors and the minors. Yeah. But we get divided.
Oh, we are divided. And I think
on the minors.
It's all by plan.
Oh, yeah. I believe that too.
It's all by plan, and it's exactly, it's what he wants. And, I want to serve the Lord, love my family, be obedient to what he tells me to do, search out what he tells me to do. That's on my journey. We didn't really talk about that, but that was my journey, is that I sought out, started reading the Bible. Instead of just listening to people, I started actually reading scripture, and I started actually praying, and actually God revealed to me, hey, Lord, like, what does all this mean? Mm-hmm. Like, where'd you come from? Where did this come from?
Yeah, Lord, talk to me like I'm an idiot.
Yeah, because I am.
Teach me.
Please help me.
Like, show me where this come from. And 100%, like, I know I'd heard the voice of the Lord, and he was telling me, you need to research the history. You need to research the history of the church. You need to research the history of our commandments. You need to research the history of everything. See where it came from. If y'all have never been down that rabbit hole, buckle up.
Yeah.
Because it's like, truly, it will blow your mind. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that follow a lot of people's theology. And there's a lot of people that, they trust. I'm not trying to say they're not men of God. They're obviously men of God. But it's gotten more that they trust what this group of people say, or these men have said, considering what the Word of God actually says. And it's been, my personal belief is that it's been tainted on purpose to mislead and to confuse, which is Satan, divide on things like that, where he's come in. But I mean, look, he's fighting a losing battle.
Yeah,
he's fighting a losing battle. And as much as, one day our Savior is going to absolutely throat punch this dude. Mm-hmm. And he knows it.
Yeah.
He knows it's coming. And there's nothing he can do about it.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's trying to do everything in his power to disrupt and to lie and to cheat and to distract and to do anything away, because he knows what he's got coming. Like he does. He 100% knows. And if you're a believer and you've read the book, you know what's coming too. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Dude, that's going to be, just like, get him.
Yeah.
Just get him.
All these things that happen to us where people hurt us, and, this thought that goes through your head when somebody really hurts you, like, I want justice right now. Like, I want justice. My wife and I were having just a real candid conversation the other day about some lady that was really rude, talking about the girls that died in the flood in Texas. And she was like, my wife was just so mad. She was, she said, a terrible person for saying those things and didn't realize how much hurt. And I wish that she could be punished right now. I was like, I think most people feel that way, but it's not her job. And it's so hard to step back, and especially when it's directly related to you, and let it go and say, okay, God's got this. When you're talking about, we know that God's going to win. We know that Jesus is going to come back and defeat the devil. But really letting those things go. And we know that people will have their reckoning when it's their time. I don't know. I don't even know what got me on that little soapbox, but.
No, I totally, I mean, that's real. I mean, those are real feelings about, you know, especially when someone hurts you or you're in a time of turmoil, we don't ever want to, sometimes we don't want to address the issue. Typically, I have found that the issue is staring right back at you in the mirror.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we want to pass that blame on to somebody else, or when we see somebody, we have compassion for people. It's just like, why would they do that? But that goes back 100% to when I hear something just awful like that, dude. Like when someone says something that's just like, what are these people?
Yeah.
Are these people? You know what I mean? Immediately, I hear Jeff Fitzgerald in my head.
So, do they know Jesus?
Do they know Jesus?
Yeah.
Then you can't expect them. If you don't think they do, then you can't expect them to have the things that you only get, literally only get by having the Spirit of God within you.
Yeah.
Like it's only comes from that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And that's, if I could say anything to anybody, it would be that if you're struggling, if you don't know Jesus, or let's say you have somebody in your life, let's say you're not a believer, but you're struggling in life and you're struggling with, a person in your life, and you're just, man, that person hurt me, but deep down, you want it to be better. Like I'm telling you right now, the only way that happens is if you have the Spirit of God within you and you accept Christ. Because once you feel and you get to experience what that love is, because that's real love. And it can only be explained by experience. Like you can try to sit here and explain God's love to someone who hadn't explained it.
Or hadn't experienced
it. But until you experience it, it is just like, there's nothing like it. It's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And when you get to experience that, dude, like it's life changing. And then
changes everything.
It changes everything. That's, if there's, I don't know why. I do know why. If there's a mother out there who has a husband that doesn't know Jesus, and you know Jesus, and you wish your husband would lead you, but he won't, pray for that man that he comes to know the Lord. Pray that he will send somebody to intercede on your and your family's behalf, because everything changes for you. You're not going to be happier in another marriage. You're not going to be happier in another place or away. Like nothing changes unless he knows the Lord. And if he comes to know the Lord, and the radical transformation that happens, I've got to witness this, through time and time again, God's used me this, that when he comes to terms that he doesn't, he's the problem, but the problem he has is he doesn't have Christ. And when he comes to that realization, he accepts Christ, and Christ comes and controls his life, everything changes.
For your family, have you heard the stats? I don't know them exactly, but if a family, none of the family is saved or knows Jesus, and a kid comes to know Jesus, or a mom, then the stats are really low that the rest of the family is going to do the same.
Yeah.
But if the dad comes to know Jesus, it's pretty staggering.
I believe it's 96%, 95 or 96%.
It's a lot.
I have family. I have family that, the husband left, and left the mom and the kid. And, thankfully, the mom and the kid are surrounded by, godly people, and they're believers themselves. But I've watched how God takes care of them, intercedes, and then you know, brings someone into their life that's, you know,
Follower of Jesus.
this follower of Jesus, and
lead them.
it's a whole different world. You know
I
what I
have
mean?
the statistics right here. I pulled it up on Men of Courage, Louisiana website. There is a 3.5% chance of a family coming to salvation through the decision of a child. There is a 17% chance through the decision of a mother, and a 93% chance through the decision of a father.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
So, Dad, if you're struggling and you feel like Jesus is calling you, or you don't know him, and your family, you feel like your family's falling apart, I don't know if everything's going to be fixed immediately, but when he fixes our heart, we are the leader of our family, and he will use you.
You also have to realize that when you make that decision, get ready.
Yeah, it's going to change.
The attacks coming.
Because the attacks are coming. It's not going to get easier. It doesn't. It does prevail in the end, and it will be better.
You just have somebody on your side that can fight for you.
100%. But like I've heard, if you are not serving the Lord, actively serving the Lord, and you're not a threat, you're not a threat, I don't think he's going to mess with you. It never fails. When I actively try to serve the Lord is when the turmoil is the hardest. Mm-hmm. But literally the turmoil, like that's the battle. You know what I mean? Like you're in there warring it up. You know what I mean? And that, I feel like that if a man knows Jesus, I feel like if a man is a believer and his family is struggling, like it is our responsibility to take personal ownership as the leader of these houses and own it. Mm-hmm. Do not pass it on. It's not the wife's responsibility. It's not the uncles or the friends or the whoever. It's yours. Like your house is yours, and it's our responsibility to take ownership in the mistakes. And you own it, and you ask for forgiveness, and then that's how you lead. And there's a book, I think it's Jocko. I think it's Jocko with Navy SEAL.
Jocko Willett.
I think it's his book. It's Extreme Ownership.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's a very good book, but it talks about
owning
owning your mistakes, like truly own it, and that's hard to do. Like it really is, to be vulnerable and like like look, I failed. You know what I mean? But it is the step that has to happen for there to be, for there to be healing and for there to be progress.
It's super hard if you've not done that before or haven't created a rhythm of like really diving in and understanding yourself and owning up to where we failed. But how many people out there do you feel like are walking aimlessly, men walking aimlessly through this life without purpose?
A lot.
And when we have a purpose, even when things get hard, so back to sports, you have a purpose.
Yeah.
You're fighting for that guy beside you. You're trying to win. Like we're working as brothers. When you're in the military, you feel the same way. That even when you go through those hard things, because of the purpose, you can make it through.
Yeah.
And the purpose in our Christian walk is Jesus.
100%.
We have that purpose. We're not just aimlessly. Men, we are designed to have a purpose.
Yeah.
By God, we were designed that way, to have a purpose. And if we don't have a purpose, if there's a time that you've ever not had a job for several weeks or months or whatever, we feel worthless. If there's a time that maybe you had a job, but you went on vacation for like 3 weeks, there's after about 7 days, it's like, oh man, I feel just unworthy to be alive and on this planet.
Yeah.
That's designed.
Yeah.
We're made to work hard at something.
I think
towards something.
I think the men that aren't like that, they've never had an example. I think you see a lot of that today. They don't have an example to follow. And that's why I'm so thankful, man. My daddy, dude, he was a stud.
Yeah.
He was. He 100%. He woke up every morning. He provided for his family. He's always working on something. You know what I mean? And he wasn't perfect, but he was mine. And I'm so thankful that I had that example. I had that example. And I'm surrounded by men that are like exactly what you just talked about. Like they drive and work hard to provide, because that's what we are.
With purpose.
With purpose, and providers. I'll say this. So this is to all the ladies out there. So I'll say this, and my wife, you see this all the time. Like it's very common. They'll say, just want you to, don't fix it. I just want you to listen. You just listen. And it's 100% true. This is one thing you talk about, what we talked about in the last episode that I've had to work on is just listen. Like truly put my phone down. Don't look at it. Look at my wife in the eye and engage myself in that conversation, and do not try to fix it, correct her, or on those things, just to listen. You know what I mean? And be patient, because as the leader, like you're running that conversation, and you have the choice to either interject, and you're going to want to fix it, but you're just going to have to listen. But on the flip side of that, know that takes experience, and it takes, trial and error to learn how to be that way. You know what I mean? But on the flip side for her, know that if you are married to a man that loves the Lord, and he's a man, like he wants to fix those things for you because he loves you, and because that's all he knows what to do. It's like in our DNA.
Yeah.
Like we are fixers. Like this is what we do. Like, listen, you got this big monster chasing you? Watch out, sweetheart. I got this.
Yeah.
Like this is what we want to do. We want to fix it. But
yeah, you got to, if somebody's talking bad about you, I'll call them.
yeah, and 100%.
I'll cut their head off.
Or, or
You went way deep there.
I was talking about the monster.
Oh, the monster. Okay.
okay.
Man. Okay. Yeah, he went 0 to 100, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. But the 100%, just, with her, I would say to her, like it's in our blood, it's in our nature, it's in our DNA to fix it. So there will be times that you like, let him fix it. Like, let him fix it. And then when he fixes it, thank him for fix it and tell him he did a good job. You know what I'm saying? But on the flip side of that, men, there will be times to like, just dude, chill. I've learned with my wife, if I will just like make her my focus, I get more out of the conversation. I'm still terrible at this. I mean, she'll be telling me something important, and my watch will go off, and I'll have a text message, and I'll break my concentration. Like, oh, she notices. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like
they know.
They know that, mm-hmm. and she voiced that to me the other day, and it's just like, man, I have to be better at that. Like, I have to be intentional of giving her my undivided attention, because I do. I mean, like she's my queen, man. Like I want her to have that attention. She deserves that attention that I give her, and I don't need to be distracted. You know what I mean? And it's 15 years. It's a balance there, but we're growing and learning how to work with each other and how to love each other the way we want to be loved. And so, yeah, I kind of got off there, but.
No, that's good. I think, being married is tough.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of give and take, and a lot of recognition, and a lot of listening.
Yeah.
And the more listening that we can do, the better our relationship's going to be, and the more inquisitive and questions that we can ask our spouse when they're going through those tough moments, or when we're helping them try to figure out things. It's intentional questions. Like, well, why do you think you felt the way that you did? How did they hurt you exactly? Or do you feel like there's a way that you should respond? Or, none of those were prodding. None of those were a question looking for a specific answer.
I think the thing that's helped me the most in my marriage is understanding that my tone and everything and the way I speak to my wife is everything. How I talk to her, how loud I am, how aggressive I am to my kids. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I have to be so conscious of like, I have to talk like to my daughters. You know what I mean? Like my daughters, they're teenage daughters, and like they're they're going through that time in their life. You know, they're very emotional and things like that. When I talk to my little girl Baylor, she's little, she's 14. You know, I have to look at her. You know what I'm saying? When I'm talking to her, if I'm trying to, you know, either whether it's discipline or have this conversation, like she's on a razor's edge of emotion, and I have to.
Yeah.
I have to be very careful with how. I mean, even if I get the ums in me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I have to be.
You're a passionate guy. So
Yeah.
you have to, you're saying you have to dial it down.
Dial it down. And I have found that if I dial it down, like purposefully, consciously, dial it down with, even if I'm raging inside, like it takes discipline, you know, practice. It really does. But also do that with my wife, and I do that with my kids. Man, my house is a whole lot more happy. My fights really aren't fights, they're conversations. I can't tell you the last time I got in an argument with my wife. I really can't.
I wish every house you walked into had a wife family happy meter.
Yeah.
It's just
If
like
you get home,
level
the
10
meter's
or
already
0.
set.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like that way, you know, when you walk in as a dad getting home or a guest coming in, it's like it's at a 2
man.
today. Hey guys, I brought you some dinner. I'm going home. You know?
Well, that's one thing that makes my family happy is food. So
Yeah.
bring in some food, you know, they're happy. But
I think there's a lot of people out there that struggle in their marriage, and it's pretty shocking. Obi, who's normally hosting on this podcast, gave me some stats the other day, and we're gonna just dive in here. I wish I could remember the stats, but it was about how often you have sex as a married couple.
yeah,
And how that like alludes to the health of your marriage. And everybody's different. Everybody's drive's different. But there was like, man, the 60 or 70% are like once a month or less than 12 times a year. And you think, what's going on there? There's there's a disconnect. There's something, there may be rare circumstances where that's what both people want. Okay. Mm-hmm. For a man, these questions are important in our marriage. How do you feel loved?
100%.
A man's going to say sex and food most of the time. Like, we're simple. We are so simple.
The 5 love languages. You're talking about like the 5 love languages.
Yeah, but I'm really getting to how do you love your spouse specifically.
Yeah.
Most men are pretty simple in that aspect.
Yeah, we are simple creatures.
We want respect from our wives, from our families. Granted, it needs to be earned. We need to lead them.
100%.
But sex and food. Sex. I mean, you can boil it down to one thing, right?
Yeah, just be real.
Yeah, you can boil it down to one thing.
It's not even the act of sex.
It's a connection.
It's the want to be wanted. Like, I want my wife to want me.
Yeah.
Like, to be pursued. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what I've learned in my marriage is that, you know, they're not wired like that. And they deal with things.
And that's okay.
Yeah. They deal with things like, you know, you get into, you know, as a woman gets older, I've learned like you get into like menopausal things. It's like their hormone imbalances and those things like that. Like they literally have zero desire to do those things, like whatsoever. And like you're over here, you know, wanting to do those things. They have no desire to do those things. That's, you know, without getting too much detail, I would say that like I'm so thankful that my wife knows the way I want to be loved. And so she, even though she might be extremely tired, you know, zero energy.
Yeah.
She still
sacrificially loves you.
Loves me the way I need to be loved. And dude, it's
huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful for that. And I, you know, that's, it's just so sad because I think a lot of marriages end because number one, men are they desire those things, and maybe that woman doesn't know how to relay those things. You know what I mean? And then here comes Satan, and then you start thinking about your own self-desires. Well, he doesn't, you know, he doesn't treat me like this, or she doesn't love me like this, and then they go search it out elsewhere, and come to find out that's not
right.
That didn't fill the hole. You know what I mean? And it actually all revolves right back around to Jesus, 100%.
Yeah.
Like if you are seeking Jesus and on a daily basis, and like there's that relationship. Like that's something that, I pray about, it's just like,
Yeah. Love God, love others.
yeah,
Not put other people above me. And if our relationship with the Lord is good, we're going to receive that sacrificial love from Him
Yeah.
and know how to relay that to other people. I think
Yeah.
on the same token, we talk about what a man wants and what makes him feel loved. And again, not the same for every dude, but I think
Right.
most guys are like that.
Yeah.
But for a woman, they're loved in different ways, right?
Yeah.
So for your wife out there, ask her, how do you feel love from me?
Yes.
And it may be something like, can you get up every morning and take the kids to school? That's how you feel loved? What?
Yeah.
That's how, okay.
Wow.
I'll do it. Or can you do the dishes? Or can you make dinner 2 nights a week? Or like
I'm going to say this. I feel like there's an expectation upon women in the household that they should do these certain things as a woman.
Yeah.
And we as a men just kind of like, that's for the women to do. You know what I'm saying? And like we take them for granted on that. And I think as a man, it's acts of service is what it is. Like, jump in there and do the laundry.
Yeah.
Do the dishes, sweep the floor, do those kind of things. And like, do something small, something super small.
It may not feel small to them.
Yeah, 100%. Ask them, talk to them. You know what I mean?
It may just be, hey, they may feel true love from us when we wake up in the morning at 6 o'clock with them and have coffee.
Yeah. That's, for my wife, she's gifts, quality time, those kind of things. And I like to, I try to, it's one of those things, dude, when you're,
if you're not a gift giver, it's hard to think about being a gift giver.
Sure, it is, like 100%. And plus, when you don't, like as a family, you might not have the money. You know what I'm saying? You might not have the money to go buy gifts. So you have to find something different. You know what I mean? But I think it boils down to just going to her and saying, hey, how do you feel loved, like you said? And like, that's what's cool about God, though, is because He shows us how He feels loved.
Mm-hmm.
We just got to search it out and figure it out. Be like, hey, okay, so this is how you feel loved? Okay, this is what I'm going to do. Same thing goes for a spouse. You know what I mean? Like, how do you feel loved? And like, not every man, but ladies, I can just tell you right now, respect is probably at the top. Respect your husbands. And like you said, it needs to be earned. If some dude's out there being a fool, then he needs Jesus, because I do believe that if you have the Holy Spirit with that, within you, that there's a level of accountability that the Holy Spirit holds you to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's just my opinion. But the whole put your hands on your husband, like put your hands on your husband, because like if my wife comes up beside me and gives me a hug or puts her hand on my shoulder or on the back of my neck, I'm in perfect peace.
It calms your soul.
I'm in perfect peace. Like the power.
If the relationship
is
strong.
Yes.
Otherwise, me personally, and I'm sure some other people feel this way, otherwise, when I was hiding things from her, when I had sin in my life and that was keeping me away from my relationship with the Lord and was also hurting our relationship, pornography, when she looked me in the eyes or when she held on to me, I felt guilt.
Yeah.
So when those things are brought to the light and you have an open relationship, and what I mean by open is like you are truthful with your spouse, then your body, your physical body.
I can say this. The worst thing I think a woman can do is if her husband opens up to him or opens up to her about something in their life, is to immediately start condemning or coming down on them for that. Like if they're truly trying to open up and be open and honest about how they feel or what they've done, like it's going to take an incredibly strong woman to sit there and listen to what they've got to say. But I'm telling you, if you want your marriage to work and you want to love your husband the way the way he should be loved, if he's made a mistake, don't.
It will change tremendously.
But if you don't listen, he'll probably will never do that again.
Probably not.
He probably won't.
Like there could be another opportunity if you work through it. And
100%.
But I think like it's taken me so long to even recognize those thoughts of like the way that you responded to that makes me not want to tell you.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Like I'm 42.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
we've been married for 20 years.
They'll bottle it up. They'll bottle it up,
Yeah.
and they won't ever talk about it. But the same goes to them for men. It's no different for men. If a woman comes to you and tries to open up and you just,
Our response can change everything.
it doesn't change. There's no difference. Like there's not a, men,
Kids too.
keep your mouth closed.
Yeah, shut up.
And listen, with an open ear and open heart. And if what they have to say is so bad, that you need to step away, how you react in that moment is everything. Like seriously, if it's something so bad, you might not even have the muster to tell them that you love them at that moment. Just like, hey, I just need a moment. You know what I mean? And then that's a timeout. You come back and you come back and you have that conversation. But there's been times where I've been really upset about something, but I look at her and I say, hey, I love you. I need some time. She's totally cool with that. You know what I mean? It's just that simple communication. But it's people just get so caught up in their emotions and the anger and the frustration.
It's hard not to.
Yeah,
when somebody tells you something that hurts you specifically.
100%.
If they're telling you something that hurts them, or how somebody in their circle was hurt, or some kind of thing that doesn't necessarily affect you, it's easier to sit and listen than if they tell you something that is shocking.
Yeah.
And I mean, if we truly sacrificially love our wives and our family, then in that moment, we have to step back and say, hey, there's nothing that you could do to make me love you less.
Yeah.
I'm hurt. Give me a minute.
It's so common. Everything we're talking about, it's every day. It's so common in every marriage, in every relationship.
It's easy to be calm right here talking about it.
Yeah, 100%. But like this stuff happens all the time, dude. Like there's people that are going to be listening to this that are going through this right now.
Yeah,
like
wife came home and wants to leave, or husband came home and wants to leave, or somebody found out they were having an affair, or I don't know. Those are pretty tragic circumstances, and those are the ones that can directly hurt you the most.
I can say from experience, my God used me in certain instances. It was kind of like Shelby's deal. If I have any encouragement for anybody who's going through that, that would be like, if you are thinking like I'm done, this is it. Like, first off, sleep on it. Obviously you get to that point, you know what I mean? I'm not saying about it an abusive relationship or anything like that. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation, but I'm just like, if you are, if you're, say you fell out of love, or you don't have these desires anymore. Like at one time you did. And 9 times out of 10 is because Christ has been removed in one of the relationship, or of one of the people, of one of the persons. They're struggling with something. And I would say that of all the relationships that I've got to be a part of, it's 110% with the men. But if the men will take ownership, if they'll take ownership in the marriage and they'll stand up first and take ownership, the wife might have cheated on the husband. And the man has every right to stand there and say, well, you did this to me. But you know what? It's because something happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've put her in that position for take ownership in that. Somebody might get upset at me for saying that, but dude, you're the leader. You know what I mean? You are the leader. It's your responsibility. It is what it is. You are the head of the household. You are doing something where she is not feeling validated, which you have put her in this position to do this. Now, she pulled the trigger. I'm not trying to take up for that, in that instance. And this is vice versa, woman versus man. But as the man and leader of the household, take ownership. Hey, every man that I've seen take ownership and seek Christ, their marriage was saved. The ones that did not, they're no longer together. And some of them are no longer even alive. Like it was that extreme, like it's that extreme. And
I'm chewing on that. That's pretty powerful.
Something that's, and I know the story you're talking about because you shared that with me. But something that's helped me, guys, and I know me and Summer's marriage is not perfect, there's still lots of things that we have to work on. And communication is probably one of the biggest things, just being open, real, and honest with your wife. And both of you having a love for God is huge. But what really has helped me is on my walk to Emmaus, when God showed me that I was no different than any other sinner. Like I'm dirty, I'm broken. You know, my sin has separated me from God, and I have to look at people like that. And it helps when I look at my wife like that too, because I think a lot of times we put people in our life on pedestals, and they can't never like live up to that because they are sinners and they are broken.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps me in my marriage now when I look at Summer. You know, I don't see a perfect girl, but I see a girl that loves God, and a girl that loves me, and a girl that loves my children. And in spite of those things that are maybe negative, I find joy and peace and happiness in that. And that makes me want to work through things in our marriage.
Mm. Yeah, that communication piece, man, is so important. My wife and I have come so far. Yesterday, I was trying to get the yard mowed yesterday afternoon, evening. And our mower's been down, hadn't been mowed in a while, some of it.
Bro, my mower's been down too.
Dude, like, I hired a kid to mow my front yard, but my backyard hadn't been mowed in 3 months.
It kills you that you had to hire somebody to do that too, didn't it?
No, not really. I just don't like paying for it when I can do it. And
Right,
also, my
100%.
wife likes to mow. She likes to do it. So it's killed her to not be able to do it. That's her time.
Yeah.
You know? So I was mowing, and something got caught up in the blade. So I got it jacked up in the shop and getting all the stuff out from under it. And, you know, it's hot and sweating. My wife comes down there and she's like, all right, my mom cooked dinner. She lives like 100 yards from us. I said, I had a big lunch. I'd like to just get this yard mowed and get done. And then there was a pause.
It's the pause.
Yeah, it was the pause.
Pause.
But if you want me to just join the family for dinner, I can definitely do that. And she was like, you know what? I would really like that. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, put your desires down
100%.
and do something for somebody else.
Yeah.
But
It's
that
the
wasn't
little
your
things.
initial response.
Oh, no. I didn't get mad or anything, but we've been through, sometimes I would, you know, but
But that pause
that was
was
me
a
looking.
signification to you that
It is.
Yeah.
It's universal.
The pause is.
The pause is
like,
universal.
that's not what I wanted you to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's universal. 100%. The
and
pause.
the cool thing is
Or
that the cool thing is that that pause wasn't just about her.
Yeah.
It was about family.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I just want you to be there because I want you to be there.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
family mealtime is important. And my mother-in-law spent time to make dinner for us.
That's right.
And you need to make it a priority to go down there and
Dude,
tell her thank you.
We 100%. So every Sunday, my mother-in-law, she is the coolest lady. Like
Mine too. Mine's awesome.
she is so cool. We call her Yaya. Her name is Dana, but she is a warrior. Yaya is, and she's every Sunday she cooks this big dinner for everybody to come. Every Sunday we go to Papa and Yaya's house and we eat dinner, and I look forward to that time. But there's some times that, you know, I'm super busy that I can't go, and there's sometimes I don't go. And but my wife, you know, I know every time I'm gonna say, if I ever say, hey, I'm not gonna go over there because I'm just not feeling like this, like I know, like there's that pause, and I know what she's thinking. You know, like my mama has cooked this for this to do this, and like it's definitely something that, you know, because her mama loves the time with us and the kids.
Love serving y'all.
Serving us, you know, and like both of my in-laws are like that. You know, my father-in-law, like he will literally give you the shirt off his back, his shoes, loan you his truck, his tractor, you know, and like he's just that kind of dude in his time. Like he's like, you know, he's a chiropractor, He's a carpenter. He's a jack of all trades. You know, he's just a servant. He's got a servant's heart, and y'all's the same way. I'm very thankful for them. But I know what you mean. You know, like you just man, I need to get this done, or I get this done. And, you know, and you tell your wife, and it's like, yes, ma'am. I'll be right there.
All right, we're gonna end on this. There's a couple things that my wife and I have been doing recently that I don't even know if other people know, but her and I, there's some study that was like, if you kiss your wife for 6 seconds a day, it'll help your relationship. And this ain't no makeout session. This is like, hold on to them, put your lips on their lips, and just stay there for 6 seconds.
I'm in,
bro.
Count me in.
Yeah, somebody told me that. I was like, I don't need any excuse.
Yeah,
like
I'm in.
So that your wife, if your husband doing it, your wife may be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
just do it. There's another thing that I think has probably impacted me more than the people I do it with, and it's mainly my wife and kids. And I told her, but I haven't told my kids, and I'm not going to tell them. When they give you a hug, or you give them a hug, don't let go until they do. So my kids can hug, bro.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it. You know, I'll give the old pat, you know, like, okay, I'm good, you know, but hug them until they let go. They'll let you know.
My little boy's like that. He's a hugger.
And he'll hang on. You try it.
Oh, yeah.
See how long you're standing there.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, oh, I got, you know, we've been here for 32 seconds.
Man, honestly, I'll be honest, it convicts me a little bit because I'm so busy to
me too. I'm convicted.
Just to get in a hurry, and like he just wants to spend that time with you. And people tell you all the time, hey, enjoy it. Enjoy it's gonna be over, enjoy it.
Yeah.
You better hang on. It goes fast, and like literally, like, man, my dude's about to turn 13, you know. You know,
Is that your youngest?
Yeah, he's Corbin Gunn. He's a beast, man.
Okay.
He's a beast, and
Rightfully so.
yeah.
Right.
Got that towhead blood.
Yeah.
Hey, he's a shooter.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a shooter. He's a hunter.
Nice.
You know, he can do way more than most men can with weapons and hunting and things like that. But he's a hugger, and and that's one thing that I hear people say this all the time. I'm so thankful for this. My daddy told me he loved me all the time. I love you. He made sure that he knew, that I knew. That's one thing that I always make sure that my kids know, that I love them. And my son, like, I love you, Daddy. You know, I love you too, buddy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
That is imperative.
Not only the words, but you show them.
Show him. Yeah. And I'm,
Kids will see right through you. If you don't believe what you're saying and your actions don't line up, they know.
I tell you what, it convicts me also. And I know we're ending, but it's just like, my son will be like, hey, Daddy, you want to do something? Like, yeah, buddy, let's do something. And I'm like, I'll be super tired, but I'm like, what do you want to do? I don't know. You know, but like, he wants to do something, you know what I mean? And like, sometimes I struggle to find things. Like, the last thing I want to do is go,
expend any energy.
He wants to play Nerf. Like, I don't want to run around the house play Nerf. Now, we've got some serious Nerf battles, you know what I'm saying? But like, he had fun, you know?
Yeah.
But like, it's stuff like that. That's just like, it's like, man, it breaks my heart because the next morning I'm up and work. You know, I'm sitting there working. I'm thinking about my son. I'm just like, what did I just miss? You know what I mean? I just missed that time with him. Like, all he wanted to do was spend time with me.
That's it. Because he didn't care what it was.
He don't care what it is. And like, I have to be a better father that way and spend quality time with my kids and not focus. It's hard when you're aspiring to be a professional archer and to win.
And working full time.
This stuff's hard, but like, I have to it has to be a priority because I know I'm going to wake up. It's just going to be me and my wife in that house.
Right. My wife reminds me all the time, like, they're going to be gone. Like, let them lay in our bed and hang out with us. They want to do that. Be thankful. They're going to be, my daughter's about to be 17. She's going to be gone a year and a half.
Yeah, my oldest just turned 18. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Let's be better, man.
Let's be better. Hey,
let's be better.
Your kids don't want stuff. They may say they do. And they may appreciate you working really hard, to buy them things, but that's not really what they want. They want you. They want your time. They want you to spend time with them and love on them and show them that you love them. So don't get caught up as a man in this trap of like, yes, we need to provide. That's our job. It's our job to provide for our family financially.
Yeah.
But it's also our job to provide for our family physically and emotionally.
100%.
So we're going to end on that. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks for being with us today. Go kick today in the face, and we'll catch you on the next one.